Hello, this is Luigi from YEU. I'm here today with a group of cultural ambassadors from CGE Erfurt. We have a couple of questions for you. What are your names?
My name is Zaida, and I live in Leipzig.
I'm Mariana, and I live in Erfurt, but I'm Portuguese.
Hi, my name is Lotte, and I also live in Erfurt.
Perfect, thanks. First question for you girls is how has your participation in the New Inuit project helped you understanding and developing skills in adaptive reuse of cultural heritage sites? Okay, go ahead.
So for me, I think it was most likely visiting the test beds and visiting some places also around Berlin and now here that helps understanding how the reusage of cultural spaces can be or how it's already done, and maybe also to understand that sometimes it doesn't need to be over-organized, but like small activities that bring people together, like the tea session that we got to know in C-Space, can help to foster community.
Yes, yeah, I agree, and I would add also that one big part of this process is that it has history already. These spaces already have history, and they have people to tell the stories that existed there and that we want to continue and build on them. So to get to know the people that work there, the stories that were there before, this is a very interesting part of the whole process, and it makes it even more rich. It's coming to this compromise of building something together that can go into the future and has some purpose.
And I also think there are some challenges. I think, for example, the spaces are so different ones from the others. We have public spaces, we have private spaces. The community around those spaces and the needs are so different that it's not only taking into account the space, but also all the environment. So that's especially challenging, but also especially interesting in this project.
Okay, and you mentioned the sea space, but do you have any other example in mind of how you applied the knowledge that we developed during the project, maybe on your testbed or in any other occasion?
I think we are still in the process of understanding what can we do, what should we do, what would be good for the community around it, for the people that live or have part of their lives in these spaces. So it's a continuous process, and I don't think it will end even when we end our part in it. It will continue to be there, and being part of that process is also teaching us what can we take it to reuse in other projects, in other spaces, in our own communities, in our own organizations. And so it's not just about the space, it's the whole environment and the team that works on it.
I think our space comes closer to the projects that we saw, for example, in Berlin, which are maybe spaces that were from the community and for the community, not a public, like here we have a great infrastructure, public great infrastructure, but in our testbed it's a totally different thing. It's being built, and our goal is also to make the community come into the space and make the community part of this space and active in this space.
And I would also say we learned a lot about the philosophy, let's say, about OMA, and also to involve people in this kind of mindset, in this kind of thinking about the otherness, about the comfort of the OMA, the granny. And that's something that we also want to share also with the neighborhood around, especially our testbed.
Okay, thanks. And what do you think are the skills, like the most important skills for people that want to be involved into like adaptive reuse of cultural spaces, and how you think New Inuit project has helped you develop these skills?
I would maybe say patience. Yes.
I was thinking the same.
Yeah, because like to really develop something together with the community takes time, takes patience, and takes also like the empathy to really get involved with them, and also like to step back from own interest, but more going for collective interest, something like that, maybe.
You do?
Yeah, and I think for me it's very important the understanding of the community. So it's not just, as you were saying, we can have some ideas, but we also need to understand what kind of people are there, what are their needs, and where do we want to focus, and how do we want to reach that dialogue in between maybe different groups of communities.
Yes, I can add that is also about trial and error, and it's okay to fail. It's okay to debate for a long time for one idea and then take a step back and then say, okay, maybe this will not work, let's try another thing. And that's part of the whole process that requires patience and the community opinions and understanding. So.
Okay, thanks. Very, very insightful. One last question for you. Like, did you use any tools, any digital tools that help you connect with your community or with the stakeholders around your testbed? If you have any example, or if you haven't done it yet, how you plan to use digital tools for this purpose?
We haven't done that yet, but we actually talked in our last meeting, for example, about having maybe an Instagram or a site where we can post, for example, pictures of the process, so that the community that are working with us will see that process, but also other people outside that might want to come, for example, to the final result and to see what was, what we achieved maybe after all those months of working together.
I could add that it's also using what is already there. So, for example, our testbed already has a newsletter, and if we could put also the input of what is happening now and what will happen so that the community basically is to tell the community, look, this is happening, come and take a look, be part of this.
Yeah.
I also think for our testbed, the digital tools are really focusing on sharing information and not so much on interacting through this kind of stuff, because it's more about direct contact and fostering community in that place rather than hosting online and digital programs.
Yeah, sure. I think these places need to live, and it's done through active participation. Okay, thanks for your insights.